Welcome to the Wine Zone. This is Pro and Con. I'm Konrad Ejbich. Today, my guest is Joseph Carr. Now, Joseph Carr became a master sommelier at 23. At 30, he started into the corporate world, and in the next 10 years became the president of Wolf Blass North America. After that, he quit, started his own little family business 10 years ago, and today, he's the largest independent wine negotiant in California. Do I have that right?
Yeah, that's pretty close.
Now here's another thing that really, welcome to the show.
Thanks a lot.
Welcome.
It's great to be here.
I'm thrilled to have you here, and I've heard so much about this, the wine is set for you, that it's exciting. So I want to ask you, first of all, because this really blew me away, is that you went to college on a wrestling scholarship to study modern dance.
Yeah, I did.
So tell me about, how did that work out, and how did you ever get to where you are now?
Well, I'll tell you a secret. The reason I went to college on a wrestling scholarship, and they dropped the wrestling team, and I met this woman from Canada, and her name was Nona Sherman, and she was an original member of the Humphrey Weiderman Company in the 1930s.
Okay.
And she saw me walking around the dance studio wearing my high school wrestling jacket, and she said, I need athletes, I need men. And she knew I was trying to be an artist, and she convinced me to study modern dance with her, and I did that for almost 5 years.
Fantastic. Yeah. My son's girlfriend studies modern dance, is actually working on the show right now. Anyways, more about you.
Yeah.
More about you. So, but you're not a modern dancer. You're a wine merchant. How did that happen?
Well, I worked my way through college as a wine steward in a French restaurant. Because when I lost my scholarship, they dropped the team. I needed to get a job.
Right. Wait, first thing, we're in the restaurant business, instant work.
Yeah. So I didn't grow up around wine. I didn't grow up around French restaurants. My father was a lumberjack from Vermont, and I walked into this restaurant one day, and I said, "My name's Joseph Carr, and I've worked at some of the finest French restaurants in my hometown." And the owner looked at me and like, "Yeah, sure, yeah.
Where's your hometown?"
Well, my hometown's in upstate New York, in the Adirondack Mountains.
Yeah.
And he gave me a job as a busboy.
Cool.
And after about a week, he said, "Joe, I have to tell you something. You're the worst busboy I've ever seen," because I'd never worked in a restaurant before. And he gave me a book called The Signet Guide to Wine. And he said, "You go read this book, and if you come back, I'll give you a job."
A book about wine to bust day? Okay, that's great. You got the job.
And I got the job.
What happened?
Well, I came back on the Monday, and I read the book. And, the book took me to Bordeaux, and to Burgundy, to the Loire Valley. It took me to a lot of places that a kid from a lumber mill town wasn't going to see, and I just fell in love with it. So I wound up becoming a wine steward, and then I studied to be a sommelier, and I took 2 of the Master Sommeliers exams and passed them when I was 23.
That's fantastic.
I worked for the Hyatt Regency Hotel down in Florida, and later for the Breakers Hotel, and then in New York City.
And once you're at that level, once you're a master sommelier, everybody in the wine business knows you.
Yeah, well...
And in fact, probably wants you to help sell their product.
Yeah, they do. I must say, though, this is 1983, and there really weren't a lot of people taking the MS exams, and the final exam was really tough. I never got to the final phase of it. I got through the first 2, and but nobody was taking it. It was very expensive. You had to go to London to take the final exams. They didn't hold it here in the United States.
In 1983, the Sutton Place Hotel in Toronto hired the first sommelier in Canada.
Really? Yeah. Wow.
I'm sorry, in English Canada. Sorry, in English Canada.
Well, it was a fun job. I came home from college and said, "Dad, guess what? I'm a sommelier." And my father's like, "What's that?"
Wow, what's that? That's great. What do you do?
Yeah, what do you do? And he discovered what I did, and it was fun. So after that, I did that for a number of years, and then I got a job working for a winery in sales and marketing. And my father put me on a plane to go to Milan. And over the next 10 years, I traveled to all those places that I read about in the book.
No kidding.
And I worked in France and Spain,
Now you were working selling wine, making wine?
Selling marketing,
selling wine,
strategic development.
And do you speak languages?
No, I can read a little bit.
Yeah.
But no, I didn't speak. I spoke a little French.
It's still pretty
But it was-
sexy not to be able to speak French in
yeah,
France.
Yeah, I'll go to France and I can speak a little bit, but nothing. You know, when you do an international business, it's mostly done in English. And,
Yeah, absolutely.
And you would, you know, if you were going to do serious business, you'd always bring interpreters. So
Yeah.
I would listen. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So I did that for many years. Then I wound up getting a job with a gentleman named Don Barry from Australia. And I was just about to get married. And my wife didn't want me to change jobs because I had this really good job. She said, no, don't change. So I met Don Barry and I talked to him for about an hour. And I came out and my wife said, how did the job interview go? And I said, well, I have no idea. Because he was Australian and he had a really thick Australian accent. And I didn't understand a word he said. But he said I'd make twice as much money and I was going to sell this wine called Wolf Blast. I was like, what's that? I hadn't heard of it because I was, you know, Francophile.
Of course.
And it turns out, you know, Wolf Blast and that, you know, iconic winemaker John Glaser was just super. And I started at the bottom of the company, and then 4 years later, I became president.
That's fantastic. I met Wolf, I met John. They're wonderful people, and they're go. So you must have been a real pretty hard worker to move that quickly. Now you're here today as producer of this wine, Josh Cellars 2013 Cabernet Sauvignon, which is named after your father.
It is.
But I also Googled your name, and I found that there's Joseph Carr Wines,
Right.
and that they're two unique websites, unique wineries. That's what I was going to ask. Are they two separate and independent wineries? And why did you structure your company that way?
Well, what happened was when I went to Napa Valley, I started my winery in 2002, and it took me 2 years to make the first Joseph Carr wines. And I made it inside Freemark Abbey, working with Ted Edwards, who's just a fantastic winemaker, became a great friend of mine. And I started to get successful making Napa Valley Cabernet, Napa Valley Merlot, and Sonoma Coast Chardonnay. And then what happened was Bobby Flay, the chef of New York, was the first person to buy my wines.
Really?
And it kind of put me on the map, and the New York Times started to write about me, and it was a dream come true. And I started to have all this success, and then the price of grapes went up. Because I'm a Negotiant, I don't own vineyards. I'm buying grapes. I'm buying grapes from lots of different people. But that year, the prices went up, and I was in a bad place. So.
What year was that?
It was 2007, going into 2008. So I went to Sonoma, and I ran to a friend of mine named Tom Larson, and he owned this beautiful winery in Sonoma. And we sat down one day, and we talked about our fathers. And both of our fathers had died about the same time. And we drank a couple bottles of wine that day. I think we were a little drunk towards the end.
That's the best time to make a deal.
And we made a deal. We made a deal that we would make a wine together.
Yeah.
So we were going to make it in Sonoma. So I was working in Napa, but we were going to start a separate project.
Right.
In Sonoma. So,
and that's Josh Cellars.
And that was Josh Cellars.
Right. Now.
I went home and emptied my savings account. I had $70,000 left in a 401k, and I came back and I made 1,000 cases of wine. And that was it.
Now, 1,000 cases of wine, and today you're doing more than 500,000 cases just of the Cabernet. Is that
yeah, well,
pretty close?
Let me put it in perspective. In 2009, we made 1,000 cases of wine, and we sold 1,000 cases of wine, and I sold it out of the back of my truck. I was still living in upstate New York, flying back and forth, and I would drive around to restaurants and hotels and wine shops and tell people about my dad and why I made this wine. So in 2009, we sold 1,000 cases.
I just laughing inside because you can never sell wine here like that out of the back.
Yeah, no, I know.
The government here.
Well,
oh my God.
I think I would have gotten a little trouble too, but I managed. I added bootlegger to my resume.
Yeah, although some people do, I think.
So to answer your question, in 2009 we sold 1,000 cases. In 2015 in the United States and Canada and the Caribbean, we shipped 1 million cases.
Whoa, 1 million cases. Yeah, okay, so that's of all your wines, or of this?
Just Josh.
Excuse me. Wow. So, well, I want to taste it.
I would- I do
want to
too.
taste it. I've heard so many amazing things about it. Were you blindsided by the success?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never aspired or never planned that it would become this. I knew that I had made a very good wine with my friend, and I knew that the brand story was an authentic story because it was about my father and myself.
It's so
and
succulent. I'm getting tingles down my spine. It's like, I want another set. I want another set.
Yeah. It's very approachable. It has great structure. We're sourcing grapes now from Napa, Sonoma, Mendocino, and the Central Coast. Buying grapes from guys that I'd always bought grapes from, but now, we had enough capital where we could buy some of the very best lots and very best blocks, manage the vineyards, know what we were going to get, and the quality. Whilst the growth went up in volume, I think the quality went up as well, and sometimes you don't see that with big growth brands.
Why? Is that because you got better at it? Because the grape growers who see what you're doing and have good grapes want to get on board?
We got better at it because we got smarter. We also brought in an international winemaker in Australia named Wayne Donaldson,
Okay.
who was just brilliant. He worked at Newton, among others, and really understood what to look for. We also had a great influx of capital from the Deutsch family, which became the sales and marketing
And
agent.
Woody.
Yeah,
Woody was a great guy.
and just it became a whole nother business, and it's the number one selling brand in the price category in the United States.
And that's, I have huge respect for that, because it's easy to make a great wine that you're making 10,000 cases of or 100 cases of, but to make 1 million cases of something and to have it that good that people, want the second, third, buy it by the case. Now, buy it by the case, I saw it on the website at $9.99 and I've seen it at $19.99 American, in different websites in America. What does it go for?
Well,
usually?
for Josh Cellars, the average price is around $13.99.
Yeah.
Anything $19.99 is probably the Joseph Card Napa wine. Sometimes
no, I think it was somebody who was a reseller.
Oh,
but you know what I mean?
Could have been. I don't know. You go on the web and you see it all over.
Yeah, people taking advantage of that. So that's totally amazing. Now, as a Negotiant, you could be making wine anywhere in the world.
I could, but my wife won't let me move to France.
Yeah.
I have to stay in the United States per our marriage agreement.
Okay, so you want to stay married, but you can still dream. If you dreamt about making it anywhere, or any kind of wine, what would you be making?
I don't know. With the Carr brand, I work with a guy named Aaron Pott who worked for Choplon Mondot
Yes.
and Figeac. And
Yes, one of my favorite ones.
Every couple of years we go over to France and kind of look around, and then I think I have a project in mind, and I'm reminded.
Looking to buy a property, or looking just to meet grape growers and try to make deals?
Create another Negotiant house.
Yeah.
But that's a dream, I think with our partners Deutsch, we're looking now in Paso Robles. We're gonna come out with a Josh selection out of Paso Robles, which we did in the United States already, and it'll expand to Canada. I mean, that's a really exciting growing area.
Absolutely. Oh yeah. All of California to me is exciting. But what about Oregon, Washington, New York State?
Well, I'm from New York
Virginia.
State. I don't know if I'd make wine in New York State. I grew up around the Finger Lakes. I used to hitchhike to all those wineries, and it's beautiful. I don't know if we can make red wines there. We can make
I wouldn't even think of making red
we
wine.
can make some good Gewürztraminer, some Alsatian.
Converts on certain areas. Pinot Noir maybe a bit.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, Oregon to me and Washington are probably more interesting next paths. But again, my business partners, we're always looking, we're always trying to be innovative. We're always expanding the Josh portfolio of wines, but we only do it when we think that we can be best in class. Mm-hmm. So we don't make Sauvignon Blanc just for the sake of making Sauvignon Blanc. But can we make this wine and be held alongside the others that are best in class? And that's how we expand Josh Cellars.
Well, if you really do think about Pinot Noir in the long run, forget about Oregon and think about Ontario. because we have some absolutely amazing little sites
I
here
know.
that will just blow you away in terms of that true Burgundian style.
I've been around for a couple of days, and I've been walking in the shops and
Yeah.
sniffing around, and it's
Good
pretty
idea.
exciting.
Oh yeah. What we're doing is what you're doing is exciting. What we're doing is what everybody's doing in the wine business is exciting.
It is.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
It's been really fun meeting you. Pleasure.
It's a pleasure. Thank
Pleasure.
you.
Pleasure. Thank you for watching Pro and Con. My guest has been Joseph Carr from Josh Cellars and from Joseph Carr Winery. And tune in again next time. Thanks. See you soon. Bye.